Hello Bitzbox, it's Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here with the fourth video in my Carmine Dragon painting series. So in this one I'm going to be working on the base of a miniature. So I'll be painting all the details on the base and then flocking it as well. Normally I'll do this last, but I thought as most of the dragon's done, I'll do it now, and then in the last video I'll do Elspeth von Dragon herself. So yeah, sit back and enjoy. Okay, so here we have the Carmine Dragon. And I'm going to be working on his base, starting with the tree that you can see here. So I'll take some dry bark to paint that. So I'm doing this video with a voiceover. I did do commentary as I was recording it, but that didn't record very well, so I'm re-recording it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think I get away with just one coat of this, but do two just in case if you don't get a good coverage, but dried bark goes pretty well over the colours that I've added on there. Just make sure you thin it out a little bit so you don't lose any of the detail on the tree. And then when that's done, I'm going to take some Rhinox hide, and this is to paint the sand on the base. So obviously if you're doing your own Carmine Dragon, then obviously paint the base however you wish. And this is just how I'm painting mine. So you can see the two colours are quite similar between the base and the tree, but as I add highlights and stuff, then it won't be so bad. I'm also going to add a lot of flock to the base, and I'm probably explaining that on the original footage as well. See me flailing my hands around, then you know I'm explaining something. But thin it out a little bit just so it'll go in between all the sand. And then next up I'm going to take some Dawnstone. So this is to paint all the rocks on the base, and I'll do a couple of coats of that to get a nice good coverage. I'm painting all the rocks with this colour. You could obviously paint some in various shades of grey if you so wish. And then you can see I've got my Nuln Oil here ready to go, so I'm going to cover all three of these previous steps with some Nuln Oil, which I thinned out ever so slightly. And yeah, it'll take a little while, but just go over all these areas. Now that's my shade to all of them, and it will make them a bit darker, but we'll lighten them back up in the next couple of steps. So first highlight step, I'm going to be highlighting the tree. I'm going to take some Goreford Brown, and I'm going to be dry brushing this colour on. So just very lightly dry brushing this, building it up gradually, and going against the grain as well to make sure I pick out all of the details on the bark. I'm also going to do this to the base as well. Again, don't worry about it being too similar to the tree at this stage. This will add a nice little highlight to both of these areas. And just be careful not to get any on the rocks, of course. I think there's a couple of little areas here where the Nuln Oil just wasn't quite dry, so I have to sort of go back after a little while and apply the highlight there. You can just sort of see in deepest recesses it's still just a little bit wet. That's just me being impatient. And then once it's done, I'm going to take some Night Crystal Flesh and essentially do the same thing, this time just being a bit more focused with it. So this is a really nice light brown colour, and it works brilliantly for a further highlight. So it went on just a little bit too heavy to start with there. You want to do this quite light and just gradually build it up rather than just going on too heavy in one go. I'm just going to apply this all over the tree back. Just again, being careful not to hit any parts of a dragon or the rocks or anything like that. And you might want to switch to a smaller dry brush if need be. I'm just using the Army Painter dry brushes for this step, as I really like them. They work really well. So I'm going to take some Longbeard Grey now. So this is to highlight the rocks. This is my favourite sort of quick method of painting rocks. Just giving them a coat of Dawnstone, a wash of Nuln Oil, and then a nice light Longbeard Grey highlight. It's very quick and very effective. And yeah, it's how I pretty much paint all my rocks. As you can see there, I quite like them. So just work around all the rocks on the base, and also we'll use some of this just to dry brush random little patches on the tree as well. So typically most tree bark isn't really brown. When you sort of look at reference photos of tree bark, you'll see a lot of them can be grey, they can have some green in them, and yeah, not even all one colour, they have sort of patches. So that's what I'm going to try and do here. I still want some sort of brown in there because, you know, it helps sell the effect as well, but yeah, I'm just doing light little passes with the long beard grey as well to have some grey in there. In the next step I'll be adding some greens to a tree as well, just give it a little bit more of a realistic look. So this clip was a little bit long, just showing you more of the tree. Probably didn't need to do it this long, but never mind. But it does show off the tree a bit there. You can see we're adding some of them greys now, and yeah, I just think it adds a little bit more realism to the tree, and it also helps just bring out that detail even further, which is really nice. And of course, with this step, you don't have to watch the rocks too carefully. Okay, so I'm going to take some Death Wild Forest now, and as I explained before, I'm going to do some sort of patches of green on the tree. Now this is quite a dark colour, so these patches will be a little bit subtle, but we're going to highlight them up afterwards as well. There's literally sort of no trick to this, I'm just applying it just to random areas. Try and make it as random as you can, just to make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm just choosing random roots, random parts of the bark. Again, you just use reference photos when it comes to painting stuff if you want to be a bit more realistic with them. It really helps quite a lot, and that's what I was doing here. Just a quick Google image search, and you can easily find lots of pictures of tree bark. So I'm just adding a bit more to the brush and then coming back in again. I just build this colour up gradually because it will be quite subtle when it first goes on, but that's fine. And just applying quite a few patches, so probably about 50% of the tree will have some sort of green or grey on it. Maybe a little bit more actually, yeah. But as you can see, that's looking really nice now, and it's starting to look more realistic, which is what I was going for. So just a few other little bits in there, and next we're going to add a highlight. So I'm going to take some Iron Rack Skin. So this is yeah, skin colour mainly used for the IDNF Deepkin, but it's really good. So I'm going to add some patches of this to the base as well, just to make the base a little bit more interesting, add a bit more colour there. So not doing the whole of the base, I don't think. From what I can remember, I'm sure it was just patches of it, or just lightly going over. It's been a while since I filmed this actually before doing the voiceover. Let me see, I'm working it around, so maybe I do the whole thing. But it just adds a bit more colour to it, and it helps separate it a little bit from the tree, even though we've got some green areas in the tree. But as I said, a lot of this will be covered with static grass, so it won't really matter too much. And then I'm going to go even lighter with some Deepkin Flesh. So I thought in the previous step I was going to go over some of the tree as well. I would recommend actually using that Iron Rack Skin to go over some of the green areas on the tree if you want them to be a bit brighter. But now I'm just going sort of lightly over with this lighter colour. See, it's bringing out the detail on the sand on the base as well. Next I'm going to take some Morghast Bone, So this is to paint all the skulls on the base. So there's a couple on there, and I've also added a couple extras myself. So I'm just going to do a very quick and easy way of painting skulls. So Morghast bone is a really good colour for that, of course, as you'd quite expect. So there's quite a few, so I worked my way around them. And I'm going to take some Agrax Earthshade. So you could use like a sepia wash, but I quite like using Agrax Earthshade. I like my skulls to be quite dark in the recesses, and make them look a bit more older and worn as well. Let me just get my face in the camera. So yeah, just go around them, just let it go into all the recesses and help pick out the details. And then we can begin highlighting them. So I'm going to take some Ushabti bone and I'm going to thin it down ever so slightly on the palette and apply this over most of the skull, obviously leaving the Agrax in them recessed areas. So I'll just brighten the skull up like so. And because it's quite thin, that will help as well. It won't be too bright when it dries. Something I say on a lot of videos, I think it's always a good habit to be in, to keep your paints thin, and you can always build up layers if you want them to be brighter. Now let's add a final highlight to these with some Screaming Skull. So usually when I do highlights on skulls, I'll do a highlight across the brow like so, and just on the cheeks. Pick out some of the cheeks and go around the nose, and just a little bit on the top of the skull as well. So just take your time with this one. Again, thin it out like you did with your Ushabti bone. I see that I'm using it a little bit too thick there for my liking, so I'm not afraid to critique myself. But no, the final result looks alright. So you've got your nice skulls on the base there. So I'm going to paint this little fan that I've added. I've got a couple of them. So if you're not adding any of these to your base, if you're painting along, then obviously you can skip the next couple of steps. But or if you just have any of these lying around and you want to see how I paint them, and then keep watching. So I just take some Cowboy Green. Nothing really spectacular with these. Just take some Euphonian Camo Shade. So once the Cowboy Green is dry, of course, just apply this all over. Help bring out them details. So sometimes you'll see me paint like this where the miniature, I don't pick up a miniature. I try and do that where I can, because it's quite a top heavy miniature actually. I'm surprised I haven't dropped it yet. I don't like handling minis too much really, especially resin ones. Skasnik Green is next. And I'm just going to pick out each individual little leaf. So you can see like sort of lines on the leaves there. So I'm just going to pick them out. I mean, you could dry brush this if you so wish. I just want to paint these on. Again, thin the paint out. Probably should have thinned out a little bit more, but it's flowing off the brush good enough, so can't complain. And it just adds a nice highlight there. You see, it's starting to really show the detail. And once it's done, it will look like that. I mean, you could add a further highlight if you so wish, but I'm going to focus on the dragon egg. This is a part of the miniature that I was really excited to do, and I'm going to take some Phoenician purple. I apologise, my computer wasn't muted because I'm an idiot. Take some Phoenician purple and just apply it all over. So what I'm going to go for is like a purple to blue gradient, and then make it all glittery and nice. So keep watching for that. Take some Cantor Blue next. Now you can do this step while your previous step is still wet, help with your blend, or you can just thin it down and sort of do a sort of heavy glaze, I would probably call this. I'm not going for the smoothest of transitions here because the colours will sort of get tied in together when I do the iridescent effect later on. But still keep it fairly thin. And you can build up further layers if you want. I think I got a little bit where I didn't want it there, so I just cleaned it up with a clean brush. So obviously be very careful not to get it elsewhere. I'm showing you sort of what consistency I'm going for there, so fairly thin. And you can build it up sort of closer away to the purple you get. You can add some more, and that gives you a bit of a transition going. But as I say, you don't need the smoothest one in the world. So next I'm going to focus on the top edge and have some Gene Sealer purple. So again, I'll thin it out as I did before. And yeah, just going to sort of focus around just the top edge here. So same thing that I did with the Cantor Blue, but just in a bit of a more focused area now. So keeping it nice and thin, dragging it towards that edge. That helped just build up a little bit of a transition from the darker purple to the light. So I have a light purple to a blue gradient going on, like so. So yeah, I think I show off here. You can sort of see it, especially when you sort of hold it to the light. You can see it sort of going from blue to purple, like so. That's fair enough. That's all I really wanted. And then I'll take some Liquitex iridescent medium. This stuff is awesome and great fun, but just be careful how you use it. If you are using this stuff, then apply it very thinly. If you go too thick, it will just discolour your piece and ruin it essentially. So this is where you've got to be very careful with it. So I put a little bit on my palette, and I really don't have much on the brush at all. You can always build it up, but you know, if you've got too much, like you see how it goes on now, that's sort of how it will dry if you don't spread it around thinly enough. And obviously you don't want that, you want it to dry more clear. So for it to dry clear, you've really got to just spread it around as thinly as you can, and you'll still get the effect. It'll leave little flakes. I guess they're little metallic flakes at least, and you can see there, sort of glittery and the shine of it. That's the effect we're going for. So it just adds something different to it. Makes it look more like a special sort of dragon egg rather than just a regular, boring old egg, essentially. But yeah, even before it dries, it, you know, it just adds a really nice effect. So it'll take a little while to dry, but obviously at this stage there really isn't any more painting to do on the miniature apart from painting the rim of the base, which, if I remember correctly, I might do at this stage now before I apply the static grass. I think I'm just demonstrating the paint here, so you can see when I apply it too thickly to my thumb, it will sort of dry like that. So yeah, definitely be very careful with it and spread it out as thinly as you can. But yeah, I really like the effect. Really like it a lot. I'd have to do it on some miniatures sometime as well. I have no idea what I'm explaining here, but I'm sure it's something really important. So yeah, you can see I've painted the rim of the base black now. So it's just a case of applying some static grass. Now, I'm not going to apply it all over, just in sort of large patches. So I'll take some PVA glue. I've been using the Gorilla Wood glue quite a lot recently. It dries super strong. It's probably a bit overkill for this, but I found sometimes with like flock and that can flake off a little bit if you don't use a strong PVA. So I've really just gone overkill with this stuff. It dries clear, super strong. Yeah, I can't complain. I use it for other stuff anyway, so I've got plenty of it. And then I got a little tub with some static grass. And I mean, you guys probably know how to apply this stuff by now, but just chuck it on, shake off the excess, and boom. You could get really fancy with it, do different colours and use different styles and that, but I've gone maybe a bit basic with this stuff, but it sort of just matches other stuff I've painted, so I thought I'd roll with it. And that's the final look of the base. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I love how the tree and especially the dragon egg came out. And yeah, we haven't got much left to do on this miniature now. I'm hoping I'll get the last bits in a single video. We'll paint Elspeth von Dragon herself. And also the throne on the back of the Carmine Dragon as well. I'm just showing off that egg again. Really super proud of that. Something so simple and basic to do, it came out really nice. And see, I've added little bits of grass up in the tree as well. And I'm just running my thumb along the edge just to take off any excess bits that get stuck there. But yeah, that was the base for the Carmine Dragon. So I'm just showing off the bit what's going to be painted in the next video, as well as Elspeth herself. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Feel free to leave any comments down below and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.